Hello, today we are going to work through a proof of the quotient rule. Now, I said we would do a proof of the power rule for a broader range of exponents, but to be able to do that, we're going to need to use the quotient rule. So that's why I'm going to prove it in this video. So the quotient rule is used for taking the derivative of a function like h of x, so if we wanted to take the derivative of this function, and let's say it equals f of x divided by g of x, and that could equal something like the cosine of 2x over x to the e, or something like that. This video I'll show you how to take the derivative of that, and I'm gonna prove it to you. Okay, so let me switch colors. Sorry. Okay, so let's take the definition of a derivative, which is that the derivative of x, and that's just another form of notation, is equal to f of x plus h over h, and this is minus f of x. Oh, sorry. There's supposed to be a limit as h approaches 0 here. I hope I didn't befuddle you too much. Okay, so now let's plug it in for h of x. So dx is equal to, so the derivative of f of x over g of x equals the limit as h approaches 0 of f of x plus h, and remember we also have to divide it by g of x plus h, and that's just equal to h of x plus h, minus f of x over g of x. Over g of x. Don't think I wrote that properly. Okay, over g of x. Okay, yeah, it's better. Okay, so now what we need to do is cross multiply. Oh yes, and all this is divided by h. Don't let me forget that. So that's extremely important. Okay, so let's scroll down. Let me switch colors. Okay, so now this is going to equal the limit as h approaches 0 of f of x plus h times g of x. Remember, we're just cross multiplying, same for this. Minus it's g of x plus h times f of x. All this is divided by actually, let me rewrite some of this. It's not very neat, so sorry if my handwriting isn't neat. So okay, so it's going to be minus f of x times g of x plus h. All this is going to be divided by g of x plus h times g of x times h. Okay, so now let's add and subtract f of x times g of x to this. So it's going to be the limit as h approaches 0 of f of x plus h times g of x minus f of x times g of x. And now if we subtracted that, we'd have to add it also, plus f of x times g of x. I left myself enough room. Minus g of x plus h times f of x. Okay, so that's quite long. So let's write this as g of x plus h times g of x times h, and that we can simplify to, this is just going to equal limit as h approaches 0, and I should probably switch colors. So now it's going to be f of x plus h times f of x, or sorry, minus f of x, and this is all going to be times g of x, as you see, because there's those there. And now plus, let's factor out a negative f of x, so this is going to become minus f of x times, it's going to be g of x plus h. Remember, the signs just flipped because we multiplied by a negative, or took out a negative, minus g of x, sorry, and let's close the brackets, and this whole thing is going to be divided by g of x plus h times g of x times h. Okay, so let's divide each side by h, or each side in each term by h, so we can get rid of it in the denominator. So let's put it under this. So it's going to become the limit as h approaches 0. I hope this new color you can see well enough is of f of x plus h minus f of x divided by h, and we just divide this one by h, times g of x minus f of x times g of x, plus h, times g of x plus h minus g of x, that divided by h. And now we can take and all this is divided by, don't let me forget this, it's g of x plus h times g of x, and remember we just factored out the h. Okay, now this may look familiar. This looks very similar to the derivative, and for the way to get a derivative of the function for f of x. So now let's take the limit as h approaches 0. For this, because it has the h, this actually will become the derivative of f of x, because look, that when h approaches 0, that's actually going to be the derivative of f of x. So I'm just going to write f prime of x. That's just another form of writing it. And let's cross that out. And this is going to be the same. It's going to be the derivative of g of x. So g prime of x. And this one, we can just get rid of that. So it's g of x times g of x. So it's just going to be g of x squared. Okay. Now let's just rewrite this. So if I have enough room, it's going to be, so here is the quotient rule. So dx is equal to h of x, where h of x equals f of x over g of x. It's going to be equal to the derivative of f of x times g of x minus the derivative of g of x times f of x. It's not supposed to be a derivative. It's supposed to be normal. Times f of x divided by g of x squared. And that's just the quotient rule. So we're going to use this in the next video. So I hope you learned something, and I hope my handwriting was not too confusing, and please come back next time and subscribe. Thanks.